Good evening. This is Penelope Flynn, co-host and moderator of Discussions for the Otherhood. I am here with co-host Sonia, and we are hanging out here waiting for the rest of the group to show up. But be that as it may, we're going to go ahead and get started. And
Oh,
as usual, uh,
weather. Yeah.
we get started exactly. Let's talk about
I
the weather.
know I was
So,
forgetting my little weather clock here.
yeah, yeah. So, what's your weather like up there in Rochester?
It's snowy.
So, you did get the snow.
We got every day for the last week. It snowed. Thursday, starting from Thursday night on, a total of at least 3 inches.
Wow.
The car is not happy because the car
Wow.
is so currently. Hold on, it is right
Mhm,
now. Come on, little weather guy. Tell me what time it is. What weather is out now?
mhm.
It's supposed to stop snowing tonight. It
Wow.
is 27, feels like 19.
Wow. Well, for us here, we had rain. I mean, a whole bunch of rain. And Otto's just jumped on, so
There he
he
is.
would like to um, be more specific about the rain that we had this week.
I loved it.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't love it so much. Uh,
He's a dark and gloomy kind of guy.
I loved it so
yeah.
much.
Yeah. Yeah. And Thaddeus is in the chat room and he's asking, snowing? Yeah, it's
Yep,
snowing for her. She is in Rochester, New York. They're getting it,
and
but
it's
we're getting
moved.
rain.
Yeah, yeah. The rain you had turned into snow up here.
Absolutely, it was terrible. I mean, like deluge, like downpouring rain.
Mr. Betty! Mr. Betty!
Yeah,
They're
we had
funny.
we
Hee
had just dug the car out from the last snowstorm, went for a drive, and as we're driving back from the grocery store, it started snowing
Wow,
and did not
wow,
stop.
wow. I mean, we know this year I thought we would get some snow, and we just didn't get
Mhm.
anything this year at all.
I ain't
And
crying.
I know, but I'm just saying.
I
I
got
mean,
a
it's
13. Listen, I have a $1,300 electric bill.
wow.
I don't need no snow.
Yeah. Well, Thaddeus
Don't
is in
need
the
no
chat room. He
snow.
was saying, "Wow, we've had crazy rain in the Bay Area, 5 days of sun, and then an explosion of rain last night." See, that's what happened to us too. We just had like days, of course, it's normal stuff. Then all of a sudden, just rain, rain, rain,
Yep.
and a deluge of rain, just like you all are getting.
Yeah. The week before, it had gotten up to 60, and I was like, oh, okay. It melted off some of the snow. There was a little bit still stuck on there. Got it off. Went to exercise class. It was like, it's getting chilly. And then it went downhill from there.
Wow,
So,
wow.
yeah, from last Wednesday on.
Well, I see Cranston here, but I see the room, but I don't see a Cranston in the room.
Yeah, I'm back behind the couch. So, yep, I'm
Ah,
here.
okay, I got you. I got you. How are things in
It is.
Jacksonville?
It has been. We think spring kind of sneaked in because all the hallmarks of spring came up, and that's those little lizard things, whatever they
Uh,
are, that just run out. That they have appeared. So that lets you know that it's spring is officially here.
all
And
right.
it's been in the mid 70s. I think it got up to 77 today, and right now it's 63. So it's been like that all week with just enough rain to make everything wet, but not enough to be real serious rain.
So how about you say literally the lizards like the little tiny ones, not the
Yeah.
iguanas, right?
No, not
Okay.
in this part of the state. We don't have to worry about the frozen iguanas falling down and everything,
Okay.
but it's just those little annoying things that serve no
Yeah.
purpose other than to run across the sidewalk.
Now you get the green ones or the brown ones?
Both.
Okay. Oh well, you have fun.
Oh
Y'all
All
yeah.
right,
both are
let's get it
doing the
started.
circle of death.
Hmm. But nothing
Okay.
eats them.
But
Birds
Otto's
don't
nice
eat
and
them.
clear. See?
Hmm.
But something
They
needs to
like
live again,
Otto.
don't they?
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but like the cats don't eat them, dogs don't get them and stuff. Birds don't swoop down and pick them up. Every once in a while, you see one that got hit somewhere,
Mm.
and the ants are dismembering it. But other than that,
Oh, great.
What's that? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Lizards.
Oh, lizards.
Little
Yeah.
lizards, yeah. Yeah, so we want to go ahead and get started. The Sonia's out, but she'll be right back. And the topic of today is something that we've been kind of playing with for a little while. And of course, it's Misery set to music. You cry, I'll clap. Um, we were talking at first about, of course, the color purple. How we start with this story and then it becomes a film. And then for some bizarre reason, we think, hey, how can we heighten the pathos, in this story? Let's set it to music. And then you start thinking about how many tragic stories are set to music. You think so, what is it about the human psyche that somehow needs to have people's tragedy set to music? And I have to say, are there some that we have that are our favorites that we actually like? Some that we particularly don't like, and what we foresee in the future, our friends in Hollywood converting into a musical that celebrates human sacrifice and trauma. So,
Well,
I don't,
Penelope, you also
uh-huh.
you have to also mention the I guess the way that these traumatic musicals are done is usually it's like it's from a real story or a story that someone's written. Then they take
Yeah.
one word from it and they put an exclamation point on it.
Yes. So
Like
yeah,
for
and that's how
instance,
you name. We're talking about how you name
yeah,
your musical. So
right,
first, you have your original concept. For instance, what do
Raising
you
the Sun.
Raisin in the Sun, right? So we start with the Raisin in the Sun. It talks about people fighting to get out of their tenement and move into a neighborhood using the money that was acquired by the death of their father, his insurance money, and then all the horrible things that happen, in between, for the beginning and the end of that story. And first, of course, is was it Lorraine Hansberry's play, and then it was made into film, and then made into the musical Raisin. And it's very interesting, as Otto was telling me about his recollection of this film in New York when it was playing on Broadway. And he was saying that it was not something that the black community, kind of embraced too much. But I guess it's because most people in the black community had already seen it, as a film or as a play, and the people who had not seen it as a film or a play were finally, for the first time, seeing it on Broadway, were by and large people who are not members of the community. So it was very interesting. I was telling him that I remember this play because it was with 1974 Tony Awards when Ralph Carter sang his, I guess, I won't call it a showstopper, but one of the songs that he had, a seminal, song that he had from the play.
It should have been a showstopper.
Yeah.
Yeah, should have stopped the show after that.
It was it's about how this particular tree that was there, in their neighborhood, I guess on the sidewalk where he used to go when he felt sad or if he needed comfort. And, he would be at that tree and he didn't want to leave their community because he didn't want to leave his community, didn't leave his tree behind. That the move basically is something that the parents wanted to move basically to the suburbs. And I never saw Raisin, but I do recall that in A Raisin of the Sun, I don't recall the son ever expressing that he didn't want to go. I don't think he had very many lines. So
No,
if
that wasn't. No,
yeah,
not in the movie, and no, not in any play that I saw. But the funny thing is,
hmm
you have you say you have Raisin exclamation point as
right, right,
the trauma as a trauma musical, and there's been multiple remakes
hmm
of the play. Danny Glover's in one that's really really good. Danny
hmm
Glover has the role, and then there's Sean Combs and Felicia Rashad did a Raisin in the Sun, but nobody's trying to do Raisin. That just shows you how it's like,
Nobody's doing remake of the musical.
yeah, nobody's trying to do that. You
Yeah,
know,
and I mean, think about it, about people redoing, remaking musicals. Now, this is not a particular. Well, I guess in a way, it is kind of tragic. A lot of tragedy involved in A Christmas Carol. There's a lot of bad things that happen. Excuse me, to Ebenezer Scrooge, during his life that make him, move from being a hopeful young man to this codger and miser, and we watch those things, and how his life changes. But of course, that's been made into a
Musical
multiple
Scrooge!
times.
Exclamation point.
Yeah, Scrooge. Yeah, exclamation point. That was made into a musical because for some reason, we think it's a different level to put music to our horror, music to our sadness. So I think the um the one that we were talking about, of course, the color purple, because that kept the whole name, the color purple. But you
Yeah.
think about other films that have been converted into musicals.
They were
Then I'm sorry, and the song we keep popping it out, but we got you this time. We got your back.
Yay!
And what musicals you said? No, Cranston. I don't know if you are a musical person, and whether you have know of any that you think are particularly tragic or sad, um, and what they come from, where they get their foundation.
Well, well, I just read something this afternoon that said that the upcoming sequel to Joker is going to be a what they call a jukebox musical, which is they have the characters singing songs from the past that are just put into the movie. And they haven't said anything about what the plot is going to be, except apparently it takes place at Arkham Asylum. So you're
Hmm.
going to have all of these people singing their way through the probably the worst asylum on the planet. And they haven't said exactly why they're going to do it that way or whatever, but
Yeah, and
uh,
Why not?
why not? But again, I think about what was the one that was one of the ones that we were talking about when we first started thinking of this. And again, we had Scrooge, we have like Oliver, right? Oliver Twist. He did not have the best life, but there's a book, and then I believe there was a film, Oliver Twist, and
Yeah, that's a
then
film.
yeah, and
Yep.
then they have Oliver, which is music. You have to
Exclamation
listen
point.
to the music, yeah, so that
and a
somehow,
Don't
Dis-
forget the
and a Di-
exclamation point.
and don't and a Disney cartoon with music.
yeah. See, there we go. I mean, because the music somehow elevates this to, I guess, do you think that it makes the trauma less or somehow more palatable or
Well,
less weighty?
Penelope, when things are happening to me that are traumatic, I know I'll always have a song in my heart.
Right. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
letting us all know that. How about you, Sonya? Do you have a song in your heart in moments of tragedy?
It wasn't moments of tragedy, but when you were talking about why how they explain the song coming, I remembering the Strange Star Trek Strange New Worlds when they had their musical number and they were explaining it that music reaches the heart, reaches emotions better, so that when they were in the depths of their emotions, that's what triggered them into singing.
Ah, okay, all
So
right.
I was like, okay, I can buy that music theory.
Okay, so
Yeah.
in our tales
Uh
to go.
yeah. Moulin Rouge is one of those jukebox musicals where it takes modern songs and puts them in the context of the plot.
Right.
So and looking I gotta rewatch that because it happens to be my roomie's one of my roomie's favorite movies. So we'll see on that one. I haven't seen it all the way because I was much too hectic or young when we were in there. But Rent is based on La
Oh,
Boheme,
La Boheme, yeah.
and I couldn't sit through this because we couldn't get tickets. We could only get one, so we gave it to our friend who had was in musical theater and he needed it for class credit. Les Mis. I wouldn't.
Mm.
Yeah, I want to see Les Mis,
Wow.
and I
Okay.
haven't seen the Hugh Jackman version either. So
See, but I saw the film Les Miserables when I was a kid, the black and white version. So again, you have this film,
yeah,
and then we have to elevate it, the
into
misery by putting it to music. Let's
Well,
set
what
yeah.
what what is Les Miserables translates into what?
The Miserable.
Lament the Miserables. It's a Victor Hugo novel.
Yeah.
Right,
The
I
Miserable.
know. And so now
Yeah,
it's
it's
a
just
music.
perfect. It's a
Yeah.
perfect
Yes.
analysis. And again, what's the other Victor Hugo book?
Hunchback of Notre Dame. Disney put it into
Absolutely.
music.
Exactly.
Yeah, that
Because
was really weird.
yeah, because you could
And
not.
also a Disney cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said yeah they made the Disney car, and there was an actual film, the one with Charles Lawton. Is that
Hmm.
who was
Charles
Hmm.
Lawton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phantom
Before
of the
Charles
Opera.
Lawton was Lon Chaney. Lon Chaney.
Lon Chaney, or was it Charles Lawton?
First was Lon Chaney, then was Charles Lawton.
Charles Lawton. The Charles Lawton one is the one I remember. And again, we go from this horrible, tragic book to be put on the big screen, and now we need to set it to music.
And then we have to Disneyfy it for the kids.
Yeah, let's do that.
Well,
So
So
in
one of
no
the
way in the
things,
world does it resemble the tragic story
Mhm.
of the original Hunchback of Notre Dame.
no, of course she
Yeah,
lives.
yeah,
She
yeah,
lives in it. It doesn't.
yeah.
well,
And
one of the things that musicals are supposed to do is it allows you to connect to the character's inner monologue. This is what they're thinking and this is what they're feeling. It's not like the story's going to carry it along, but if you put it to a hummable tune and everything, that people will remember it. So that's one of the reasons that it's attractive. Like, I didn't know that his life was that
mhm.
miserable until I heard him hit that, C over high C, on the ending of it. So,
Okay, well, I mean, so with that in mind, then Cranston, do you think that there is value in making these plays or books or films, excuse me, into musicals?
it's kind of hard to say. It's kind of like a chicken and the egg type of thing. It's like, well, it's here, so we'll go ahead and deal with it or revel with it or whatever because they put it out there. But without it, you can't really say whether or not you can that it really does anything to what's going on,
Right.
unless it was set up to be a musical retelling of whatever it is as it goes along. So, like with Sweeney Todd,
Right.
it's the type of thing where you know it does carry along some of the things that are going on with the characters and everything, and it could be that if your story is one about essentially murdering people
Mhm.
and what you do to it after that, then yeah, the music would kind of leaven that a little bit. It said, okay, yeah, he just killed some people and stuff, but hey, you're tapping your foot while he's doing it. So
Yeah, like Son of Sam, the musical. Sam!
yeah,
Well,
Sam.
yeah, but
Okay.
it would be awful weird if characters started talking to us about what they're really thinking, like Deadpool does in his movies. They can; those types of characters can break the fourth wall. We don't think anything of it. But if you're watching something that's supposed to be more artsy or whatever, if the person turns and talks to you and breaks the fourth wall to tell you their inner feelings, you get pulled out of the story where this is just brings you right back into it.
Okay. Well, in the chat room, Thaddeus saying the value of creating these films is to share a part of a medium, books, plays, movies, with an audience which might not know they exist at all. It also presents an opportunity to see lives which would be outside of the perspectives of regular people who don't consume literary culture.
Very good.
Well,
So
I think that's a very appropriate comment, except when you see the musical version of The Color Purple,
yeah,
which trashes all of that because it's absolutely helps nothing and no one. In my opinion, it's tough to get through, right? I mean,
hmm
the first movie that came out, people may have had problems with it and
hmm
storytelling and acting, but it's far superior to whatever they're trying to do in the musical version, and
yeah,
that came out, and that's I think that's part of the reason why it didn't attract a large audience.
yeah, and I think also because of certain parts of the subject matter, it's kind of like not much to sing about. Again, singing of misery and even thinking of triumph over certain things like wow, but you had to go through all that, and not very comfortable, to watch or I mean, the first time around is bad enough. But I think that concept that you have about the singing as a means of basically shifting point of view without people realizing that you've done it. Because you may have your main character and you have supporting characters. And so we don't want to shift point of view pretty much from our main character as we're watching as this omniscient viewer. Um, Maybe that is a kind of subtle way, like you said, of reading into their heads what they're saying without them just sitting there by this fireplace saying, boy, I really don't like my life too much and I want to do something really different. Singing it probably makes it more palatable.
Well, the music, and the musical tunes in my opinion,
Hmm.
added absolutely nothing to The Color Purple, and
Yeah, yeah.
I can see no true reason why it was added. And as we said at the beginning of the show, there's a reason why there haven't been revivals of the musical Raisin, as opposed to several,
Hmm.
revivals of the play, the Lorraine Hansberry play, Raisin in the Sun.
Hmm.
It just because it didn't add any. It's like what do we sing about? The white man doesn't want me to move into his neighborhood. He
Yeah,
doesn't want me there. He doesn't want me there.
well, I think also you have to look at it that like you certain things are revival heavy and other things are not, revived at all. Maybe it has to do again, like you said, with the way that the music is written or the people who wrote the music, maybe we're not quite in touch with what they should have been writing. For instance, like I was indicating with that song that Ralph Carter was singing regarding my sidewalk tree from A Raisin in the Sun. And, they put an argument in this child's mouth in this song that did not exist with them or him in the play. So I think that's another thing. Are these people using the songs to tell the story that the writer originally penned, or are they telling a different story? And maybe that's part of the problem too. When you're adapting, to make sure that the adaptation actually is square with what the writer's original intent was. I mean, I know sometimes people go off a little bit, but I think to add within this conflict with this family, the probability that the son is against them moving, which was never an issue in the original film because it wasn't just about the issue of people moving. It was about the dynamic of, a man who wants to have control of his life and then doing something that was outside of his skill set in order to do that, to take that control. So it's I think it's more than that. And I think to have a child to be pushing against, whatever it is that the parents or the grandmother, whatever wants to do. I think with just too many opinions,
Because of course a child's not going to want to move.
Yeah,
That's what it felt like. Of course the child's not going to want to move. So why are we paying attention to this?
yeah,
And it's a different time frame too. I mean,
right.
Mhm.
in the 50s, late 40s, early 50s, when Hansberry wrote that play, and then when it was staged, she was still around. She
Hmm.
she wrote she wrote the dialogue and everything, and it was all about opportunities.
Hmm.
So you choose your opportunity, whether you're going to try to move to opportunity, or whether you're going to be like the male protagonist
Hmm.
and start a business and stay where you are. Or you're going to go back to your African roots. There's a bunch of things that were going on,
Right.
and one of them wasn't staying put. That wasn't that
Yeah.
wasn't yeah
Or especially staying put from the perspective of a child,
of a
because
child,
these
right,
because these are the arguments had between adults.
right.
You
They're
know,
making decisions
yeah,
whether or not
decision makers. Yeah.
whether or not the wife is going, what they're going to do with the new baby that's
Hmm.
on the way, and another mouth to feed, and all these things are
Right.
going on.
Right.
Doesn't necessarily lend itself to song.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, but I mean, think there are a lot of other plays and musicals that have bad things happen that there are songs, correct?
Absolutely, and one I think of is my favorite, "Pennies from Heaven," which I highly recommend to anyone who wants to enjoy a musical but also be severely depressed. Is is "Pennies from Heaven" with
Hmm.
of all people, Steve Martin in it.
Yeah. And I remember saying, "Oh, we should watch Pennies from Heaven." And Otto was, saying, "What in the world? We're a Steve Martin film?" And just say, I said, "It's not what you think. It's not what you would generally um, pin as a Steve Martin."
It wasn't in my wheelhouse. Okay,
Nah.
It wasn't Lena Wertmiller, or it
Hmm.
wasn't it wasn't from Sweden. It wasn't directed by anyone that I
Hmm.
respected, like a Scorsese. Why am I watching a Steve Martin film? It's like watching a long version of the Three Stooges. There's no reason for me to
Yeah,
watch.
right. But said, no, it's not that at all. It's not that at all. And again, it's like what you were saying, Sonia, about the film that has interlaced modern for the time
Hmm.
music to express the 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 I guess the plot or the plot points, within the story. And yeah, Pennies from Heaven is really ugh, yeah, it's rough. Bernadette Peters and Christopher Walken also starred in it. It's very good, very good.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for someone like me, who used to be a film snob, to
Hmm.
watch that movie. And I remember Penelope telling me to watch it, and I said, "Ugh, oh boy, oh
Yeah,
boy, this is not something I want to watch.
right, right.
Give me Ingmar Bergman or something like that." But
Uh-huh.
no, this is it's a great film, and it's overlooked.
Yeah, yeah, and because it's just you on the opposite side of your argument is an argument where people who watch the film and were thinking, "Wait a minute, this is not a funny Steve Martin film. What the heck is this?" It was interesting. Part definitely drama,
And Misery.
misery. Of course, the musical numbers, some which are very funny, some which are just good. Christopher Walken, in his first profession as a dancer,
Yeah.
dancing, and it was quite excellent. So you have to, I mean, if you have time and the inclination, that is a very good film. Also, if you checked in the Facebook group for discussions from the Otherhood, I left two links. One of them is, well, both of them are for the Colored Museum, but the first one is a particular exhibit in the Colored Museum is the Last Mama on the Couch play, and the second one is for the entire Colored Museum play. And that also is something that when you have the time and inclination to sit down and watch a Colored Museum, it is very good. Of course, there's a few clunkers in there, um, but the great
Doesn't give
majority of
enough. Doesn't get enough.
yeah,
You don't hear
definitely.
people talk about it,
Yeah,
to my knowledge, has never been revived.
I think that people have revived, but not that level. Like it should have been another film, actually, adaptation should have been done of the Colored Museum. It was a play, and then it was made into the film. But I mean, I think somebody should put some budget behind doing the film. The one that I attached to the in the post in that thread in the group is excellent. I would definitely say watch it. But the one part that you can see very quickly is the last Mama on the Couch play, which is again a satirization of the kind of thing we're talking about, where you have trauma being set in front of us as a meal of entertainment, and the satirization is very, very good and very funny. So,
And
Slave
slave
Ship,
ship.
first, yeah,
Oh
Miss
my God,
Pat,
I love that.
Miss Pat, the very first one, get on board Celebrity Slave Ship. So yeah, you definitely got to watch that. The opening of Colored Museum is quite excellent, and then again, don't forget the last Mama on the Couch play. You must see it. It's wonderful, and especially if, as you know, I during the period when I was growing up, you can identify each of the plays that they're referring to within this Mama on the Couch play. It's very, very good.
And I think if there was a nail in the coffin to Raisin, the Color Museum was probably it.
Yeah, yeah. Color Museum kind of called Mama on the Couch. It's the Mama on the Couch play. You know, his well-worn couch with a well-worn mama on it. So all these stereotypes of the relationship between the mother, the mama on the couch, and her children, the son in particular, I think is it's supposed to be very heart wrenching and stuff, but they just take such liberties with it, and it is very funny. So again, recommended highly.
Well,
So
there's some things I thought that are so traumatic it would never be a musical. Like there would
mhm.
be movies about it, but apparently there's an opera about Malcolm X, the Malcolm X autobiography of Malcolm X.
Well, there's a film. It's just they moved to the next level: book, film, and now move to musical. That's the usual
Is
progression.
the op- is Here's my question, since I'm
Hmm.
not a musical or musician or
Hmm.
any of I mean I like music and everything, but I'm not educated in that area. Is the opera because it's an opera considered a musical? Like Les Miserables, is that a opera or is that a musical?
It
That
is
is
an
a
opera.
musical. Well, there's also opera and a musical. Musicals tend to have the regular dialogue in between. Operas have no. All the dialogue is sung.
Okay, so
Like
this
Tommy, which is a rock opera, because all the
it's the
lines
rock opera. Okay, so there's
Yeah,
all
nothing
the
but
lines are
singing
sung.
throughout.
Yeah,
Like
right.
Hamilton, is
Yes,
that opera or musical?
no,
it,
it's a musical because they do talk in
they do
between.
talk some.
Yeah,
Oh, is that rapping or are they talking?
Well, that's the thing.
no,
That's the thing, because
they talk.
rap
Yes,
is still singing. It's
Rap is
cadence.
musical.
Yeah,
Rap is
yeah, 'cause
music.
it's cadence.
yes, but
Right.
they also talk. They don't rap in portions of Hamilton.
There's no talking in Hamilton.
Yes, there is.
No, no, I'm asking. That's a
Yes,
question,
there
not a
is.
statement.
Yes, as I said, yes, there is.
Okay, there is. And it's
Yes.
not
I'm,
and it's
you know,
not
I
it's
say
not
I'm not. I
rapping.
say okay. Let's say I'm not sure
I
because
was listening to the rhythm
I was the
patterns and
soundtrack.
the
Oh,
rhyming patterns. There's some dialogue that don't have rhyming patterns.
Well,
That
there's not there are
not
things
direct
saying
ones. The
there are things said
rhythm.
in rap.
like I say,
There are things said in rap that don't necessarily rhyme.
Yeah, but
So
no,
this
I'm talking about like iambic pentameter. Shakespeare it's more written in like iambic
there's
pentameter than in 3/4 time type, that sort of thing.
I don't know. I have to listen to it again. I'm not
Yeah, I
sure.
have to. Yeah, I mean,
I have
it
to
could be
again because
it
this
could be
looks like
some
Detroit
variations.
Superstar is an opera.
Yeah, I mean, rap is so different than
Godspell, yeah, Godspell is a musical
but
because
gospel is a musical.
right because in Godspell Christ's character stops and then he actually sits and he pronounces the parables and he actually
Yeah.
sits and does then
Okay,
there's music.
yeah,
But like
he's
I
not
said,
rapping.
yeah,
He's not rapping.
Yeah, George
So
Washington doesn't always talk in rap. So that's why I can the George Washington character doesn't always rap. There's one character that does all his dialogue in rap. So that's the hard part about Lin Manuel. He mixes stuff so
yeah.
well.
Like I said, I don't know. Said I'd have to listen to it
yeah, I
again.
have to see that. I have to see that again. I have to
I'd have
look
to
at
do it
that
again
again.
because I'm not
But
sure.
I would say that so this thing that's coming out regarding Malcolm X has said that it's an opera. It doesn't say that it's a musical at all.
Mhm.
So I guess
Yeah. So there's
in that classical term, it's everything is going to be sang or
correct.
sung or whatever
Yeah.
grammatical
Mhm.
tense of singing it is. So
Yeah, it's
Like
kind of like the most recent iteration of Porgy and Bess.
right.
You know, the issue is it a musical or is it an opera? Is
well,
it that big
I
Like
deal?
always thought it was the
La Boheme is an opera. Rent is a musical.
Yeah,
well,
but
is
the
Porgy
thing I
and
think
Bess an opera or a musical?
It was written as an opera. The original was written as
yeah,
an opera.
when I saw it on television when I was a kid with Sammy Davis Jr. and Sidney Poitier,
Hmm.
there was some talking in that.
Yeah,
So
they changed it to a musical.
So, but
But
I think that
yeah, what's his name? Gershwin wrote was an opera.
and
has
so
it
they
ever been produced as a actual opera?
I
The
think
yeah,
originally that when it was done in the form of an opera. But again, I think because it was, Gershwin, it was, pop modern music at the time. I don't think they identified it as such, even though it was. So I don't know.
We could use Dr. King's expertise if she was here, but
Yeah, but yeah, she's not here. I think she's working on something tonight.
she has a PhD
Yeah,
in
yeah, but
music.
she's a music person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she would tell us straight up what's.
yeah, and she would know because she knows
she
that thing
she can
inside.
put her critique into the group after the post so that we can figure it all out.
Yeah, if she has time and
Yeah,
inclination.
But such a traumatic thing like Malcolm X is it's an opera. It's set to music, so it's like.
hmm
Interesting.
But nothing, to my knowledge, nothing about Dr. King has been set to music.
I think that's because his family holds really tight reins on the rights.
He's a
I
public
think
Yeah.
figure.
no, yeah, but you still want to approach the family, and I think Malcolm's family wanted the truth out faster.
I
Hmm.
don't think so. I don't think they approaches Malcolm X's family, and I think
Because
they
if
just did
you're a
an
public
opera.
figure, or if there's a book or something that someone's written, and you
Yeah,
obtain the rights from the person who wrote the book, you can just go with that.
right.
You know?
But I
But I
think
don't know.
Malcolm's family's, I mean, Martin Luther King family uh, before put some really tight constrictions
Yeah, I don't
on
think
the
if they,
thing.
I don't think based on what I know about Malcolm's family, I don't think they would have
Hmm.
gave a green light to an opera. But
Probably not. I don't know.
Depends
yeah,
on who was writing it.
Yeah. Or
don't
if they
know.
read it and they thought that it had value
Yeah,
and properly um, displayed, what happened at the
It's
time.
something
Or
different, I guess. But it's like you wouldn't put God that most one of the most awful things like Emmett Till, right? You wouldn't
hmm
put that to music,
no,
but I wouldn't be surprised
yeah,
if
because
it
remember they
became a
put
music.
that portion regarding Emmett Till in Lovecraft Country. Remember? So and then they have a movie about Emmett Till's
But
mom.
what's that?
I do not know. Must be Cranston.
Yeah, Phantom
Cra-
Phone.
Yeah, there
Was
goes.
that
I mean,
the thing in Lovecraft Country? Was that did they put Emmett Till to music?
no, I'm just saying that they put the issue of Emmett Till within that film, so who knows what's next. And that's like the other issue we have, like who knows what's next. And I think that if they did something like The Color Purple and try to put that to music, I have no doubt that, I mean, well, because this one did not transfer well, I think maybe it will put the brakes on things like, for instance, The Women of Brewster Place, you know as a musical, which I would definitely see
Call it the Electric Cockroach.
someone. The Electric Cockroach. Okay, very good. I don't know if anybody's ever read The Women of Brewster Place or seen the
Mhm.
film, because there's a film, The Women of Brewster
Oh,
Place. That one of the big heartbreaking scene is a little girl, a toddler, sticking a fork into a plug and then be electrocuted. Trauma. So that is definitely prepare you to ready for to be set to music. And
Oprah produced a TV show based on it, so
yes, yeah,
anything's up for grabs.
yeah. Well, she was in it. She was
She was
Yeah.
in it with
yeah,
Robin
one of the similar
Gibbons.
characters.
Mike Tyson was in it.
Phyllis Stickney was in it.
Mhm.
Lynette McKee was in it. Paula Kelly
The
Yep.
was
Electric
in it.
Cockroach.
Yeah, and that I mean, I'm going to tell you, I sat there and I read, and even when I read it, and I did read the book, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I know what a plug, electrical outlet, looks like, and I know what a fork looks like. How can you get a fork into an electric outlet?
By the
The
handle.
tines of the fork. The
Right.
tines of the fork are
Cran-
what?
Cranston said he tried it before. It's on a handle.
Yeah, it's just you can't. It's hard to do, isn't it? I mean,
I
it's almost impossible.
Where there's a child, there's a way.
I know. I mean, I know. I did it when I was a kid, but I did it with a wire,
I
and my
did with a
son did
wire.
it. Yeah,
I
my
did with a
son
wire hanger. I
and
did
our
with a wire.
son did it with a key.
Yeah.
But it's just I mean, I don't like bad writing. That's it's like come on, y'all, come on.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
Cranston's right. If the handle was small enough, not a wide angle thing, but
no,
it
you read it
not
well.
really to,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
not what happened in the book. In the
It just
book,
said it's for in the book. It just said she put a fork. They
no, the
didn't
tines. It
the
said she was
time.
the tines of the fork, that she was going
Uh,
after the roach. Hold the fork, put the tines of the fork in the thing, which is nearly impossible. So I think that if you, like you said, you turned, they said you was holding it by the tines and then using the back of it. Okay, maybe, but that's even hard to do because I mean, it's small. I mean, it would have to be like the smallest fork that ever existed in the universe.
And a very strong child, because it's
Yeah, a
like
very
you
strong
really got
child.
to jam that fork in there.
Yeah. Like I said, I did it with wire, and wire is easy to get in there. And like you said, doing a clothes hanger,
I did with
easy.
a hanger.
A key is
Now,
easy to,
if you
you
ask
know?
me, if you ask me 5 minutes after it happened, or
Mhm.
ask me even now
Yeah.
why I did it, I have no explanation.
Well, mine was that I wasn't thinking about the electricity. I was just thinking I had done a paper flower, and the ends of the wires are out from the back of the paper flower, and I was trying to display it. And I mean, I got to be about 3 years old. I took it and I put it in the thing, like to sit to display it. And I remember my
You can be
hand,
forgiven. You were 3 year old. You
yeah, my
I was
hand,
not 3 years old when I
yeah, my
did
hand
that.
was burning. I can remember the paper burning. For the flower, the tissue burning,
You're
and
lucky.
my hand was like I could feel like the what you call it. I mean, the shock. My hand was just like burned or taking the job, but I didn't, because I didn't think that through very well.
Yeah, yeah, you're lucky.
I didn't
Yeah,
think that through very well at all.
yeah. I just did it. I didn't smell, didn't burn anything. I
Yeah,
just
well,
I blew a fuse in the house. That's what happened.
yeah, us too. Blew the fuse in our apartment building. And when our son did it, we were fortunate because at the apartment complex we lived, he was sitting on the sink top. I mean, we had a sink in the bathroom, and he was sitting on the sink top. And I think I was doing something. He was dressed,
No,
and I
no,
was.
no, no, no. I remember this. I remember
Where
this.
was it? He was a sink top, wasn't it?
No, no, no. You were
What
at
is
work.
that?
You were at work.
No,
No, no. Let me tell you what happened.
no, because I
Yeah, I
remember.
remember. Let me tell you my memories of it.
No, you're wrong. Because I was there. Because I
You were
remember.
at work. I was at home.
Mm-mm.
I was doing house work. He was in the back room, and he stuck a key into
I
the
was there.
he stuck a key into the plug, and
That's right.
I heard a big bop, and
Because I was there because he was
that was
sitting
surge
beside
protector.
me at the sink because there was a plug at the sink. He was sitting on the sink top. I had the key there. I was getting ready to go. That's how he got the keys. It was my car key. So that's what he had. He had my car key, and he stuck it in the thing, and everything. And it was just, it happened so fast. It just happened so fast. I didn't, and the thing is, because the apartment complex had that thing that immediately shuts it down. That's probably the only reason that was fine. But you could see on the key ring where it melted at the spot where the key was on the key ring.
But it
So
wasn't a fork.
it was
In
not
any
a fork.
event, it
It was
wasn't a
the
fork.
key.
It
It was the
wasn't a
key.
fork.
Yeah. So yeah, that was something.
So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
could be
but you
turned.
were
The
you were
the
in the other
woman
room.
that brings the place can be turned into a musical, right?
Okay, turn that. Okay, I think that I think if Color Purple had done well, that definitely would have been made into a musical.
That's
I
not gonna
I
stop Oprah.
definitely would have seen that be made into a musical. It may slow them down a little because they'll say those things don't make good musicals. But I mean, but after that, The next one on its tails is definitely Precious. I haven't even seen it, and I know that they
Tell me
dying to
what.
put that
Well, let
theme
me let
music.
me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Why haven't you seen Precious?
Cause it's not the type of film that I want to see. I don't have an interest in that. I mean, a lot of films I don't have an interest in, and that's one of them. No interest whatsoever in seeing that film.
Do you know what it's about?
Yeah, I know what it's about.
Has
I
anyone else has anyone else on the panel not seen the film?
Haven't seen it. No.
No, I've seen it.
okay.
I've
So,
seen it also.
Francis, you
I've
tell
seen it also.
you and Otto tell us about Precious and whether you think it would make a really good musical.
No. Um, it's a story of Precious is a let's see.
Spoiler alert!
Yeah, well, it's about, well, to try to say it not in spoilers, but it's the story of a young woman who's trying to navigate a difficult life, and somebody that never catches a break anywhere, a positive break anywhere in her life. And of course, the villain of the piece is, of course, her mother, who would have all of the good, uh, bad songs and everything coming along. So
Okay.
it's not an uplifting movie experience, and it really is trauma porn and stuff,
Mm.
of the highest order.
See,
So at the end, so
I
there's
think
like
Cranston
no happy ending.
Happy-ish.
So yes,
Cranston did a great job in describing the movie, and I think the just based on that description alone, it would lend itself to a musical version of it.
yeah, that you fine. Thanks, Cranston.
Well, the thing is, you got to find somebody to come up with the songs for it and everything. Like, well, what
Uh,
can we do
Oh
that
yeah, because you
people are
know
going
why?
to?
You know
mhm,
why it would be
mhm,
good for a musical because there's so many breaks in between the trauma. You know, it's like
yeah,
you know the molestation break. You know the things that goes on in school break. You know the
mhm,
dream about being a white person break. You know, there's so many breaks in that, and then it would
mhm.
lend itself to different music
Musical
songs.
numbers, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Can you imagine the dream sequence for her, wanting to be a white person? Man, that'll be a showstopper.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
there's some things that you just say, no, this is too much. Even to be entertained by tragedy, you say, no, that's okay. I'm not gonna,
that's all right.
yeah.
I'll
I
pass on
challenge anyone listening to this show to make Precious into a musical, and I think
it. Whoa, there we go.
Yeah, Hollywood calling. Yeah.
yeah,
Go.
there it goes.
All
And
right.
I think that it would be a more huge success than The Color Purple. I bet you.
Yeah, or on the other one that I put on my list of being a musical after this is Beloved because um Oprah Winfrey didn't get the reaction she wanted to out of the film, so I think that she might want to take another stab at it as a musical. You know, the concept of this ghost or this gothic ghost story, of this individual who finds themselves in, her home, who is about the age of the daughter that she
Ooh,
lost.
yeah,
You know?
that'd be good.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, all the religious iconography and stuff that goes on in it, I think it would be, ripe for a Broadway interpretation as a musical.
I
What do y'all
agree.
think? You think Beloved? Yeah, yeah. What do you think? Did anybody else read it or see it?
I
No.
think it would be too confusing because there are people that were trying to figure out, well, how much of this is real and how much of this isn't. And I think that's
But
one of the things that is you can get away with some things on the page, but you can't do it on the screen.
but I think that because you get to do it on the screen, because remember, this was a film.
Yeah.
Jonathan Demme directed this film, and I think again, like you say, what is dream, what is reality? It's like an awful film that I saw a few years back, Mother, and we watched this film, Mother, me and Otto and one of my
Oh, I
friends.
didn't watch it.
Oh, you didn't watch Mother? Just me and her?
Yeah, I
That's
didn't.
the
I didn't
Mother.
go see
Okay.
it. No.
Oh, you didn't go see it? It was just me and her. And so afterwards, we're sitting because we do this. We watch a film, then we go out and eat, and we talk about it. And so we're discussing, what this film is about, what we believe the film is about, blah blah blah. And apparently, we had no frick flopping idea what that film was about. So we're like, what the heck? So yeah, you might be right. You could do an entire film, and at the end, realize that you had no idea what the heck was going on in that film. Because I had no idea. I thought it was something one thing. My friend Karen thought it was something else. And we finally, Otto was the one who finally said, "Oh, I saw, a review of this thing. They were saying what the film was about." I said, "Hey, break the tie, man. What was the film about?" And so he read what the film was about, and we are like, "I'm sorry, what the heck are you talking about? That makes no sense. Based on the film that I just saw, that makes no sense at all." And it didn't make any sense at all. So again, you may be right about that, Cranston.
Mhm.
It may be
Well, what
different.
about Roots?
Roots, the musical.
Yes. Put an exclamation. Put an exclamation point behind
Ah,
Roots.
You
I
have to
don't
break it up into several smaller projects,
Roots.
like Roots, the first generation.
Yeah, just do the LeVar
The
Burton
first part.
version. Yeah.
Okay, Roots. Wow, I do not know. I mean, maybe they said you do what is it? Was it not the Four Tops? Was it Chippehoy? Who did Four Tops? Who did Chippehoy? You said they have Chippehoy
The
being the
OJs. The OJs.
OJ's,
OJ's, yeah.
OJ's, yeah, doing Chippehoy. And you're coming on to land with this,
Yeah. Well, you
uh,
got the stuff in the village, right?
right? Right?
In the beginning with
Yep.
Kuta Kente, then
Yep.
with Cicely Tyson and all that, and then how he's raised up in the air, like the Lion
Yes.
King,
Yes. Yes.
and then you got the white people trapping him with a net, no less,
Yes.
and then putting on a ship, and then Ed Asner doing his thing. It could be a great musical thing, right?
I don't know, but I guess if you could make Hamilton, I guess you could do that. I don't know. Interesting.
Who
Roots.
says no?
Roots the musical. I didn't say no. I said I didn't know. I said Roots the musical. Huh.
No,
I
just say
don't know.
Roots. Just say Roots! Exclamation
Roots.
point!
Roots.
Roots!
Okay.
Roots!
Roots. Exclamation point. But it was already called Roots, right?
Yeah, but an
This
exclamation point makes it a
exclamation point,
musical.
so it's a musical.
It
Okay.
makes it a musical. Yeah.
Okay. I got you. So anybody else have their musicals that they think would works that would translate into trauma porn musicals?
I,
Uh,
Hmm?
well, I
I,
guess 9/11 the musical.
yeah,
So
That's exactly
that's
what
what.
Sonya said
Yep.
before we got started. That's what Sonya said. The same thing.
I was here trying to think who would produce it. It would have to start in London first, because they're used to um things blowing up in their neighborhoods and stuff like that we're not used to. So it'd have to test it there first.
Oh, okay.
Boy, you had a hard time getting that produced.
I don't know. New Yorkers are kind of greedy.
No, I don't know.
We don't know.
You had a
We'll
hard
see.
time. It would have to
Okay,
be
so
a. It would have
9/11
to
the
be an
musical.
Irwin Allen movie first, and then a.
Irwin Allen production.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. But remember somebody did do was it Oliver Stone who did a 9/11 film?
Yeah.
yeah,
So you just adapt that into a musical.
Yeah.
What about that? Yeah, no.
That's rough.
I know, but it's a film already. You can adapt it. It could happen
Yeah.
into the
Somebody
music.
said too soon. Too soon.
Too soon. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of stuff is never. But then again,
Can't
how
say
many years
never.
did they have to wait? About less than 2,000 years for them to do one about Christ. They did
I
too.
mean,
Godspell and Jesus
Jesus
Christ
Christ.
Superstar.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
So
not too
He's
soon.
he's got several of them.
Couple
that's
of
right.
1,000 years is not too soon.
That's right. Say 1,000 years went by.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. You can say
yeah.
about time. We think
Man,
this
we can
material.
sing about his crucifixion and stuff.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, or do one of those. We get a minor character and make it to a major character. Get Judas and make a whole film about Judas. Did anybody ever do that? Make a whole film about Judas?
Well, there's a book, of course. I told you about Judas, my brother, with his
Hmm.
character, say Frank Yerby book, where Judas, of course, is following Christ, and and they have this other character, and they're saying how this other character um, and Christ look alike. But this other character who is telling the story, he grew up in a wealthy family, and Christ grew up in family of minor means. And how when at the end, of course, when Mary Magdalene sees him um, at the tomb, she believes that Christ is risen because she sees him at the tomb. You know, in decent shape.
So make that into a musical. How
Eh?
Judas
What?
sold Christ out. How Judas sold Christ out. Why he did
Mm-hmm.
it? 'Cause,
Mm-hmm.
you know, 30
Uh,
pieces.
Because he
30
was
pieces.
supposed to.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't. Well, you know what? I always think when people say that, I think then if he was supposed to, then why would he go to hell?
Because you're supposed to.
I mean,
Or
but it's like if you're supposed to do a thing, and you do the thing that God has set out for you to do, then why would you go to hell for doing the thing that
you
God
see,
said?
that's what got me in trouble in Sabbath school, asking questions like that.
Stop asking
Yeah,
questions.
I got in trouble for things like that,
yeah, yeah.
like
Stop
See,
asking questions.
pointing out that Mary never gave up her blue veil.
Stop asking questions.
says, dude, just cut it out.
He
Go
was
stand
going
in
to
the
hell
corner.
because he was going to hell because he was destined for it.
Okay. All right. So I said, you go over there and you clean the erasers. Here you go.
Yep,
Go beat the erasers. Go outside and beat erasers. That's what you get to
You
do.
know, it's
that's
like,
what. Yeah, I went to parochial school. They didn't like me asking questions like that.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you know what it is. Put on things like the Moses
Mhm.
story. Okay,
Mm-mm.
you remember we talked about the Moses story.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. Yeah. Your position. You should regale us.
Well, the Moses story is okay. So God says, "Look, you know what? I'm tired of hearing about from these Jews every day. Jews, Jews,
Mhm.
Jews, Jews. They keep talking about they want to be set free. I'm going to send somebody to set them free. I'm going to call the guy Moses or Shmoses, whatever his name is. He's going to be the guy that's going to set these Jews free. So this is what I want you to do. I want you, just put this kid on the Nile. Then he's going to be caught. He's going to be found by the daughter of Pharaoh. He's going to become a Pharaoh. Then by decree, he's going to set all these Jews free. So I'd have to hear this Yizagad, all over and over again. Okay. So then Moses decides that he wants to do something else. He decides that he wants everyone to know that he's part of these people who are enslaved. And God goes like, you know what, whatever. The bottom line is these people get free. I don't
Mhm.
care how you do. You could have done it. You could have done it one way, the hard way, the easy way, a third way, whatever way that you want to do it. But these people are going free. So that's basically it. So that's the deal.
Yeah. I mean, something like that, right?
So something like that. So it's like the Judas thing. I don't, you know, 30 pieces of silver, 30 pieces of gold, you know,
This thing's gonna
seven,
happen regardless of whether you do it
seven,
or someone
seven
else.
virgins,
Whether it's
seven
you or
virgins in
someone
heaven.
else,
Yeah,
this
it's
thing's
gonna
gonna
happen.
happen.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be you, but it's
No,
gonna
it's gonna
happen.
be you.
Hmm.
It's gonna be you. I chose you, and it's gonna happen.
Mm.
And there's no what do you call it? There's no
Free will.
there's no free will. Thank you.
Mm.
Whatever you choose, it's all going to come back to this
It's
point.
all coming back to that. Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
Marvel movie.
Mm.
And a musical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anybody else? Any of y'all have any other musicals that you see on the horizon that are going to make their way into a theater near you or a Broadway stage near you?
The Red Summer.
I don't know if there's a
Not
book on
the
that yet. Unless you do, for instance, what is it? The what is this? The thing, the Alan Moore thing,
The
The
Watchmen.
Watchmen.
The
Watchmen.
Watchmen. Yeah, The Watchmen. If you did that and adapted that the portion of The Watchmen, in Tulsa, and there's a book though about the Tulsa um massacre. So I guess you could do that.
You could set it to music.
Yeah, I mean, do you think it's something that's too soon though?
Too
no.
Especially
soon.
since, well, no, no, I'm going to explain why I say too soon. I say too soon because although it happened in 1921, there's so many people so, you know, covered up, you know, that even those who knew about it didn't talk about it. So a lot of people are, even those who lived in Tulsa, did not really know about this thing till recently, you know, within the past, few years.
True.
So I think maybe still, even though it happened in 1921, that it may still be right now too soon.
Right. So you could
So
do the same thing with the JFK assassination.
I mean, there's no musical though, is there?
Yeah. The Assassins.
When did that come out?
Isn't hold on, let me look it up. Isn't Lee Harvey Oswald one of
Yeah,
the
he's one of the
assassins in it?
characters. Yeah, it was a general survey of political assassinations from starting with Lincoln on up through. The last one they had was JFK, and they talked about the ones in between, like even Gerald Ford, that kind of thing. So yeah, so
But it wasn't just a JFK
no, no,
focus.
Right.
no.
No, it's
JFK was
all
like
the
the
assassination, all the assassins.
Assassins.
Yeah. Musical
Um,
by John Stephen Sondheim. That's why. Yeah.
yeah.
Stephen
Sondheim.
Sondheim.
Okay. All right. Well, that'd be a thing that he might do. Yes.
Came out in first performance was in 1990.
Hmm.
So
I do not recall that. Just goes to show how hard I was working
Was not
in
a success.
1990.
I don't know whether was it successful. I don't remember.
The first run was not successful, but then the good thing about Broadway is every few years you have revivals, and
Yes.
revival has been quite successful since then. The last one they did, and that one got a lot of attention, was one with Neil Patrick Harris. So
Uh,
yeah,
yeah. It's also got Squeaky Farm as a character in it, and John Hinckley. So yeah, that's
okay. So, do different people play all these
yeah,
people, or are the
yeah,
same people,
different people.
recycled? Okay.
yeah.
All right.
They shift the cast around. As different people, and I think when they did this revival with one of the Neil Patrick Harris, he was narrator that did like the first introductions to the first part, and then he plays Lee Harvey Oswald in the last, I guess, the last act or the last session.
Okay. Sounds interesting. All right. Well, you all. I mean, I thought this would be a you know longer thing, but we are at about an hour. We are done. So, thank you all for joining us this evening to discuss our misery set to music. You have any more ideas? Definitely leave them on the page of Facebook, and you can also listen to this, re-listen to it on YouTube. Like, subscribe. Thank you very much, and we'll be back again next week here in the Other Hood with more things to discuss. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful remainder of your weekend and have a very productive week. And we'll see you next week. Thank you. Good night.
Bye. Good
Hey,
night.
good night.